All right, so this week we're going to talk about public health and GIS. We're going to bring in some health data, and we're going to use it to make to make some decisions, right? Okay. So what did I do? I just so you can see how I found data on this. I just put in GIS healthcare data, and I'm going to hit enter in Google, and let's see what comes up. And the very first thing is something for Arizona. Maps and GIS portal, public health data portal. So I'm going to click on that, and the link will be below, so you can see that. And this is where we're going to get our data, is this website. It's going to have a whole bunch of stuff for us. We're going to search GIS data here on the left. Search GIS data. You're going to click on that, and you get a list of things that they've got in GIS data. Now there's two things here that we want to download for this project. The first thing we want to download is ADHS, so Arizona Department of Health Services. And we're going to get data, GIS data, statistical data. Okay, so we're going to open that up. It's going to open up a map here. And what we want to do is download some data. So we're going to click download data, download here. There's a couple of things we have here for us. What we really want is this shapefile. This is a spreadsheet, this CSV, so you could look at it if you'd like, but it's also included in the shapefile here. And so you're just going to click download. It's going to download it to your computer. So we'll let it do that. So it just downloaded to my computer. Let's see, someone's trying to call me. Just a second here. All right, so yeah, an old friend just called me, and I felt compelled to answer, so I did. Anyway, so you downloaded this. What you're going to then do is you're going to go back to the menu where we had this, and we're going to scroll all the way to the bottom and click Arizona Hepatitis C testing and treatment sites. Okay. All right, so again, we're going to see a map. We can see all the testing and treatment sites around the state. And please note also that these are testing and treatment sites in September of 2023, and we're going to download that as well. We want, again, the shape file. Download that. And over here, you can see that both of that information was downloaded for me. Okay. All right, so now we're going to go back to QGIS, and you're going to make sure you have those files in a folder that you can find. Just a reminder, if you need to open up the viewer for where files are, you can go into Viewer and down here to Panels. And then here in Panels, you can click on Browser. You can see there's a browser, just like your file browser in your computer. I also like to have in my panels opened up, panels. I also like to have layers available for me to see. So those are two things here that are available for me to see. And so I'm just going to click on that and put them in here. All right, so now what you've got to do is find your files in your browser over here. I've created a folder, so all right, so from here what we're going to do is find our folders wherever they are in your computer. So if you had it in a downloads folder, you might have to go to users in your C drive and find your login. So that's me. So I have to look down through here, and I've downloaded it into my downloads folder there. So let's look at my downloads folder. Typically, this is where they go, is in your downloads folder, but you have to know where that's at. And so that you'll find it somewhere in here. I've got tons of stuff in here, so I'm not even going to look for it. But you should have it in here if that's where you've downloaded it. Otherwise, it'll be a specified location in your folders. I've already downloaded this into another folder for this class, so I am going to go there. It takes a second to load. The circle of death. That's what I call that little blue circle. Okay, and then I've got a projects folder. Too many projects, right? Okay, so if I expand out and I look, I've got this here and this. So this is a health sciences lab. And you can see right here, we've got our hepatitis C data right here. And then we've got, oh, sorry, this is what we're looking for right here. Hepatitis C, it's got this little circle, half circle of dots right there. You're going to pull that in first and you just drop it in there. You should get a whole bunch of dots. All right, and so that's under the hepatitis C folder. And then the second one is up here under ADHS. You click and pull that in as well. So I just clicked and dragged it in. And so this popped up. I'm going to hit add layers and click OK. All right, so my dots disappeared. And so what happened was that the map that I pulled in, which has Arizona and all the counties and such, is over top of my dots. So what I need to do is click on this and pull the Arizona hepatitis C up to the top. So I clicked, held the clicker down, and then pulled it up. Okay, and I've got all of these dots now. Okay. All right, so what we want to do is create a heat map of all of these testing and treatment sites in Arizona, okay? And so what we're going to do is something really cool, okay? We're going to, first of all, we'll right click on the bottom property here on the state of Arizona. Okay, let me pull this over. And first of all, what we're going to do under properties here is you're going to click on label if you're not there already, labels, and you're going to come over here to this little down arrow thing and you're going to click on it and then just outline single labels and this will pop up. Okay, so if you were to click OK, you don't have to do that right now because I'm just going to reopen this, but if you wanted to, you could click OK and you'll see that all of these names of cities around the area have popped up. So we got Kingman and Safford, and then they've outlined areas within the counties that these areas are responsible for. Anywhere in this map is where they're responsible for in Safford in this county, which is Graham County, right? All right, so what we want to do is make something called a heat map. And so I know that when I'm done with this area is going to make it really hard for me to see these words in color. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change these words into white instead of black. So we're going to go back in there. And so I right clicked on our layer right there. And then I'm going to click on properties. So I clicked on properties and we see our pop-up menu is back up and we're still on labels because that's where we left, right? And what I want to do now is I want to change the color. So here we've got color, and we're going to hit this little down arrow right here. You can see that I've got some things that I can choose any color in here. I can adjust it by moving this around that way or this way. But what I really want is just white. So white is just a standard color. It's right here. I'm going to click white, and then I'm going to click apply, and then OK. And so you can see that now it's changed all the wording to white. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to right click on Arizona hepatitis C testing, and we're going to click on properties. Okay, we are not going to stay on labels. We're going to leave that as it is. Okay, we're going to click on symbology, which is just above it there. And we can see we've got all this stuff here, right? And what we're going to attract our attention to is this very top thing called single symbol. If we click on it, we can change it to no symbols, but that's not what we want. We actually want something called a heat map, which is right there. So we're going to click on that, and it says heat map up here. And then a color ramp, we're going to change the color. We're going to click on this little down arrow over here, and this will pop up. We're going to go down to turbo. Okay, I like turbo. It's a nice spread of colors. So we're going to click on that, and then we're going to click apply. Okay, I'm going to pull. Now, I can't see the state anymore, so we need to adjust stuff. But you can see that we've got these little hot spots where the testing places are around the state. So most of the testing places are right here in the Phoenix area, with a few here, a few up here in Flagstaff, but we don't have a whole lot other around the state. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on this bottom stuff here, all these numbers. We need to change that name, don't we? Because it's just too much. So we're going to hit properties. So I right click. Let me do that one more time so you can see what I did. I right clicked, and then I clicked on properties. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on red outline. Okay, click on red outline, and then click apply, and then OK. Still don't see anything, because now what we got to do is click and then drag this one back up to the top. And then there we go. We've got this on here outlining the whole thing. All right, so we're doing good. Now what we're going to do is we're going to make our map. And so hopefully previously in previous labs, you have created a map. So we're going to go over to project. We're going to left click on that. Then we're going to come down to new print layout. You can give it a name if you'd like, but I choose not to. It's not important. And so now we've got this set up here. I'm going to adjust my screen just a tad. So what we're going to do is click add item right up here, and we're going to add the map. So this is going to tell, I'm just clicking and then holding my left click button down on my mouse and dragging it to the other side, and it renders it. So you need to think of this as a piece of paper, and if I print it out, this is what it's going to print out looking like, right? Okay. So now what we're going to do is we're going to move this over a little bit because it's not right. In order to do that, though, we need to do something else. If I try and move this, then it moves it off the paper. So my sheet of paper right here is kind of like my paint canvas. I need it to stay on my canvas here. Otherwise, it's not going to print out right. So in order to move the map itself on the paper, what I can do is click on this move item content button here. So I'm going to click on that, and then I can move the map over a bit like that. Okay, so it's now towards the right. Now, the reason I wanted to do that is so that I could put a legend up here, okay? And so we're going to add items, and we're going to go down here to add shape, and then we're going to add a rectangle, okay? So I'm going to click this, and I'm going to drag that down. So I'm holding my mouse button, my left mouse button down, and then I'm going to let go, all right? Then I'm going to come back up here to add item. And now I'm going to add a scale bar right there. Now this says kilometers. I want it in miles because most people think in miles in the United States. So I'm going to move this over to show you what I'm doing. And move my picture over. And I am going to see, we've got units right here. I'm going to change the scale bar units, and I got to make sure it's on scale bar up here. If it goes to rectangle or map, this will not show up. It's got to be on scale bar up here. So that this shows up down here. You're going to change this from kilometers to miles. Okay. And then what you see over here, oops, let me get that back in. Okay. Okay. Now what we see here is a scale bar that is in miles, okay? All right, now we're going to add a label, and this is going to be our title. I'm just clicking and dragging, again, my my mouse button. And then if we go over to the right, I can change the wording of what I just put into okay, so I changed it to hepatitis C testing and treatment locations. Okay, and so now if I go back, move stuff back over here, I can see that it's changed up here to what I want it to be. Okay. Okay, so now I need a north arrow. So I'm going to add item, and I'm going to go add arrow, and I'm going to put an arrow in here. Oops, wrong arrow. I messed up. Let me put it back to where we were, right? Okay. I'm going to add item, and I'm going to add north arrow right here. Okay. Now I'm going to click and drag. All right. Okay. We got that. And now we need to make sense of these colors. So what we're going to do now is we're going to add one more item, and we're going to add a legend right there. Click legend. I'm going to click and add that. Whoa, it's got too much stuff on there. Obviously, we don't want all that stuff, so we need to edit that. So we come back over to the right here. We make sure that the legend is what we've got clicked on up here. And then we come down here and we're going to change this stuff. Before we can change this stuff, though, we have to click on auto update and remove that check mark. Okay. So when that check mark is removed, then what we can do is click on the top thing item here. So this matches up with our layer on the main QGIS. We don't want all this gibberish. So in order to change this gibberish, we click on edit selected item properties right there. And you can see in the label, we can now change this. So we're going to put cities and counties. Okay, cities and counties. That's all I'm going to put in. We're going to go back. So I just clicked that arrow. If you didn't see what I did here, let me repeat it. So I'm here where I've edited. I'm going to click on this little blue arrow, and now we've got cities and counties. I don't like this label either, so I'm going to change that too. So I'm going to just call it, I'm going to get rid of this, and I'm just going to get rid of the underscore there and the underscore here. Oops. And the underscore right there. And now that looks better. Now, if we look over here, we can see that we've changed that to testing and treatment sites. And so it gives you a heat map of the testing and treatment sites in the area. So obviously, it's very clear that we've got lots of treatment sites in the Phoenix area and some in there and a scattering throughout the rest of the state. And that's about it. Okay. And then let's see, let's change one more thing. This looks small. A nice title is nice and big. So what we're going to do to change this is come over here to font under appearance. We're going to click on that. And then I am simply going to change this to, oh, let's try, I'm just going to type in 25. And that's too big, right? Is it? That's too big. So why don't we do this? Let's try 15 then. Okay, there we go. There we go. So we could do that. Heat maps are neat because it helps you get an idea of where things are, and with things like diseases, heat maps kind of give you an idea of what's how much is occurring in certain locations. So that's what we've got here. Now, the last thing you've got to do before you turn this assignment in is come up to layout. You're going to export it as a PDF, give it a name. And then you save it to a location of your choosing on your computer. Click Save. And it is saved. It's saving right now. So it's done. It says that it's complete. And here it is. And so now I have a PDF that I can share with other people with a map that gives them an idea. The only thing I just saw is that it cut off my north arrow a little bit. I should have moved that over. Anyway, now you've got some instructions on this. This is what you're turning in for today's activity. So make sure you upload it, and then you'll be done. Have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you later. Here